I'm feeling good. I like a dude who fucked his life up and then gets it back together on purpose.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Good Bro, Bad Bro, the #1 show on the internet for dating, self-improvement, confidence, social skills, and learning about relationships between men and women in the digital era, 2022. Big episode for you guys today. We got Bachelor Brendan back.
Thanks for having me again, man.
No worries. Haven't seen you in a while. You're looking good.
I like that jacket.
It's nice, eh? Found this Toronto jacket in the middle of Arizona, guys.
In the middle of the desert.
Yeah. Weird story for sure. Yeah, guys, before we get started, make sure you hit that like button, drop us a comment for the algorithm, join our Discord. Today, we're going to be talking about how to meet your next girlfriend. And this is going to be looking at things from more of a technical standpoint, because obviously meeting a girlfriend, you could simplify it to going and talking to someone, going on some dates with them. Boom, you're dating.
Yeah.
But where are you when you meet them? What status are you when you meet them? What's your occupation? Why did you meet them? Was there a reason? There's all kinds of things that we can look back on previous relationships that we've been in and see some things that are in common, things that worked, things that didn't work. We're going to break down all of my serious relationships. Brendan's going to talk about some relationships him and his friends have been in. And we're going to go over how I met the girl. What was the context, location, like what point of life I was in, and how it all led to a relationship. We're going to do a separate video that breaks down how you get yourself into a position where you're ready to start meeting girls, right? So like that's a whole self-development kind of kick, more so improving yourself. Because I think a big mistake a lot of guys make is they go out into the dating field before they're actually ready to be in a relationship, you know? And then they end up settling with somebody less than they could potentially get, right? Because generally speaking, you date somebody around equal value to you. So if you're low value, you're going to attract a girl that's low value.
Right.
Vice versa.
Right.
Another thing too to keep in mind, guys, a lot of these relationships vary in time and seriousness. You know, some are only for 2 or 3 months, some for 2 years, right? So none of these are consistent in length, but we're going to try and mix up the names and details as much as possible so that we don't reveal any private information. But yeah, we're going to break down a bunch of example relationships and go from there. First things first, buddy, when you think of the idea, how to get a girlfriend, what comes to your mind?
Find a good person. Make it I think just how it's really how you meet them. I think that's the most important thing with our day and age. It's 2022. Social media is a scary place.
Yeah.
There's a lot of perks to social media, but the dark side of it's very bad. I just think I'm an old school guy. Everyone's different. Their preferences are different.
Yeah.
Other things have worked for them.
As an old school guy, what is your go-to?
At a dive bar.
Let's
go to let's just like if you're watching like a live band at a dive bar.
Yeah.
You know, just approach someone that you can kind of buy a drink for. That it's that saying. It's like that's the type of girl that I would buy a drink for at the bar.
Right.
One of those sayings. So that's my ideal sort of introduction to a woman.
So right away, if she's at that dive bar, you know that she's interested in the same kind of music as you, right?
Yeah, but even the atmosphere. Because
the atmosphere, right?
The atmosphere just, usually these dive bars, it could be really any bar, but, a dive bar, it's usually a lot of regular guys. Mm-hmm. Everyone's very talkative, has great life experience, and it's like our parents' generation. That's the generation that'll get us places. Mm-hmm. That's one thing my dad always told me. He's like, my friends are going to be your friends, and they'll help you get places in life. Your friends,
right?
They'll be your friends, but they can't really do much for you because you guys are going to be on the same boat,
Yeah, that's true.
Whether it's finding jobs, whether it's just people supporting each other. He's like, my generation is like the most valuable to you. So, I like surrounding myself with my dad's friend group, but like even that generation, you learn so much.
Well, yeah, I mean, people that have skill sets, they have life experience, and that's most of my friends are older than me too, man.
Yeah,
like the top level guys.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Yeah, because you get to learn from them, right? And then you get to pass that on to all your buddies.
Exactly, right? But even just communication skills, I've learned so much from just talking to those guys. Yeah, communication skills. They're not on their phone. They can just talk to you, look at you in the eye, and just have a great conversation with you. So yeah, that's the most important thing. That's rule number one. But yeah, I mean, if you see a girl at a bar, it's just genuine. You get to meet her like without texting her for the first time.
Yeah, you don't have that onus of like, I guess, how do you put this? It's organic, right?
Very organic, and that's the way I want to meet someone, and it's the most important way because you save so much time from going through you know, the texting phase.
Oh, the worst.
I don't want to.
The cat and mouse game.
Cat and mouse game, you know, and you just play phone tag too sometimes. So
yeah. What we'll do, guys, is we'll get more into like the actual how to get a girlfriend later on. But right now, we're just going to look at like some examples, case studies. We're going to go over one of the first relationships I was ever in. So the first relationship, let's say high school. And the reason that we met was because I approached her in real life. So it would have been, we had the same class, basically went over, talked to her. We probably had mutual friends. So I think my friend was dating her friend at the time. Okay. So I would talk to him and he would talk with his girlfriend and his girlfriend would talk with this girl. So right off the bat, we all like talk to each other as a group, right? So that's that organic thing we were talking about.
yeah.
Most relationships are met through social groups like school and co-working. And it's sad because nowadays a lot of it is on apps, right?
Yeah.
Which isn't organic. But this one in particular, yeah, it was just through same class, approaching in person. At the time, my status and their status was pretty even, like low average, because, you know, in high school, you don't really know what you're doing.
Yeah.
There's like the super preppy, popular guys, and then there's like dudes that are very outliers, and then there's just people in between. So
we're all lost. We're all lost causes in a sense in high school.
yeah, we're not. It's preseason, dude.
It's preseason.
Yeah,
it's before the glow up.
Yeah,
you know,
there was a lot of glow ups, but were you a late bloomer or did you pop in high school?
No, I definitely popped later on with height wise. I think it was like grade 11 or 12. That's when I got taller.
Yeah,
but you know, I had the Justin Bieber flow.
Nice.
You know, I had the nice little you know, kind of like the skater hockey flow when you were younger into the preppy sort of haircut. I guess with what all we like the fuckboy cut in a sense.
the clean cut. Yeah.
Clean cut.
Little short on the sides, high. On the
Yeah,
top.
a little one on the sides and dust the top.
Yeah,
right?
puff.
And then you know, outside of I think grade 12 and graduating high school, that's when I started growing my hair.
Nice.
Like the slick back hockey flow.
Yeah.
So there was some, I had the lettuce going, and I think we're all late bloomers in a sense, but
Well, yeah, dude, guys don't know what the fuck we're doing. Women mature much quicker.
Way quicker, and I see it, and it's funny as you get older now, and whether you're driving past a high school or just a school zone, you know, I drive past my high school sometimes, and like these kids look like they're babies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what was that
what
me?
I looked like?
Was that me? Right? So you get a little confused and start thinking back. It's like maybe that's how I was.
Oh,
but
yeah.
you don't perceive yourself as that when you're in high school. Cause
No, you think you're the shit.
You think you're an adult. You think you're 45. It's insane. So
Yeah, man. It's definitely like a reality check.
yeah,
Occupation at the time of this relationship, I was a student and I worked part-time as a chicken farmer.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, not doing much. Exit, she dumped me because I was soft. You know, I didn't really have any experience. I didn't know what I was doing.
yeah.
And, girl broke up with me.
Tough loss for you. I mean, everything
Not
works
really.
out for a reason. I know, but
Well, no, the idea of this is because there's a lot of guys, I think, that they go through like one breakup and they're just done.
yeah,
Yeah. So this doesn't even like that hard a breakup. But the idea is like a lot of guys are watching this are in high school.
Yeah.
And they might think this is it. This is like, you know.
Oh, for sure. That's how I was. I mean, going to my first girlfriend in high school. I mean, I had a girlfriend when I was in like grade 9. So, but even putting that aside, my first real girlfriend in high school, I was with her for like 4.5 years. And honestly, it just, after 4.5 years, her family had like a lot of money. And my family was just like average, you know, single parents, all that. So
Yeah.
I think that probably played a huge role in how my life was growing up. I mean, I didn't choose it, but
Yeah.
I didn't have a bad life whatsoever. My parents loved me. I had a roof over my head. I got to eat food, but her family was on a different level. My first 2 breakups, like in high school, they were like, I was heartbroken. Like I thought like life sucks. It's over.
Yeah.
This was like my wife. And like, we all need to go through breakups to find out who we are as a person, how we can achieve our goals. How can I be better? And what am I really looking for in a woman?
Yeah.
So I kind of use that as time goes on. But if we kind of back up from 2022 now, the most, I think, genuine relationship I had was probably 5 years ago.
Okay, so location, reason,
Yeah,
status,
crazy.
occupation.
Actually, you won't even believe this, but I was up north and I was in a Zayres.
A Zayres.
A Zayres. And there's not too many Zayres like
No.
through the GTA or anything.
Premium grocery store.
Premium, great place. And I saw this girl, you know, walking around there, and I was with my dad.
Ah.
And I was walking around, and she looked familiar. I was like, this girl looks very familiar. She was with her mom.
Oh.
So, you know, just kind of playing it cool.
Stepsis.
Fuck, I knew you were going there. Yeah, there's something stuck in the dryer.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I was kind of peeking down the aisles and
Okay.
trying to sneak a peek. But, you know, at that point, I was kind of scared to go up to her, to be honest.
How old were you, like 20?
I was, I would say 20. And, you know, we finally got to the checkout, and it was like her mom, her, and it was like me and my dad.
Dude, so it's like a double
And
2-on-2 kind of.
I'm like, my dad's definitely going to hit on this one, like on her mom. He's going to ruin it for me.
Nice.
But she looked very familiar, and I was like, I don't know where I knew her from, but in my head, I'm like, it's definitely Instagram. So I reached out to her
You initiated a combo.
on Instagram
Oh, no way.
in the car because I was really confused that we were both in this small town
Yeah.
up north.
So you didn't say anything
Yeah.
to her in line?
No. We just sort of like looked at each other. We were obviously attracted to each other.
You get back to the car.
Get back to the car, and I go on Instagram, and I'm trying to find this person. So I search her, and I'm like, this is her. So I messaged her. I was like, hey, this is so weird. I said, this is so weird. Were you just in Azairs? And she's like, yeah, I thought that was you too, blah, blah, blah. So that sparked everything.
Oh.
So I explained, I said, my grandfather lives up here. You know, I'm always up here. I have a cottage up north.
So you start talking.
Start talking on Instagram, whatever.
Nice.
So we ended up, you know, fast forward, hanging out in Toronto. She was going to school in Toronto, and I'm living in Toronto as well. So perfect, you know, we could meet up. She was in school at the time. I was working.
Yeah, so what was your occupation?
I was in sales and marketing.
Right.
She was younger than me. I think 2 or 3 years younger. So she was younger than me. I was working sales and marketing. I was always on the road. I was very busy, but you know, it started off really good. So I remember going to her student res.
Yeah.
And it was like one of the days that she was like moving out. So her parents were coming
Like
down.
end of April kind of thing?
Yeah, one of those things.
Okay.
I went to her res a little bit, but she's like, hey, my parents are coming down to help move. Do you want to come meet them down here?
Yeah.
We'll go for lunch. I said, yeah, for sure. Long story short, her dad knew my dad.
Whoa.
Crazy thing. I just mentioned, I said I was supposed to go on vacay with my dad. He works for the airlines.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I know a guy that works for the airlines. He's always traveling. And I was like, oh, yeah. Like, he said, what's your dad's name? I said, George. And he's like, I know a George who works for the airlines. And I was like, so I showed him a picture. I was like, is this him? He's like, yes.
Yeah.
He knew a lot of guys from Hamilton, and it was like
Right,
from
yeah.
Toronto guys. So that's the weird thing. But
That's interesting. So your parents
Yeah.
having the connection
Sort
kind
of.
of helped a lot of this.
yeah, just sort of like you had that family dynamic already. I was almost like you felt like you were in the circle right away.
Yeah,
It
so
was
that
easy.
familiarity.
Great, right? And then she was from up north and back and forth in the city, and just kind of the same lifestyle.
So you had a lot in common.
Yeah, a lot in common early on, and dated for 2.5 years. I believe just like her being from a small town and living in the city,
Yeah.
Toronto changed her a little bit, and I think her being younger, she needed to explore herself a bit more.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where it was like, it's not you, it's me. She's like, I need to find myself and like go on a break. And I was like, oh yeah, like these breaks don't work.
Yeah.
Whatever. And she ended up just doing her thing and moving on. But I have nothing but respect for like the family still, and her family's great. But you know, I don't talk to any of my exes
Right.
whatsoever. And then you kind of fast forward. Yeah, I mean, I think that was the most genuine relationship I had, though.
Well, yeah,
Just because of the family.
So that's the idea here. So this is like you guys kind of met in person, but you didn't. But you knew each other, and you messaged each other, and your family knew each other.
It's a very small world.
But that's what ended up making the relationship genuine, as opposed
Exactly.
to, you know.
And everything was good. Like I said, we all, you know, age plays a factor, too. If someone's in school and someone else is working full-time, I mean, you know, these people are still in their, like, prime time of, like, their young years being in university, going to parties, meeting people, networking.
Very high status, too.
You know, in that sense. So you kind of have to understand it. It sucks in the moment, but if people need their time to just find themselves or really just explore others, if they feel like they're locked down too early, I mean, you know, it happens in some relationships. It's unfortunate because, you know, it is great to just meet someone who's awesome. And if you really do gel with them, I mean, life's short. Just stick with that person.
Right.
I mean, you know, it's not that difficult, but that was probably my most genuine relationship. And then I think I believe my last one. I'm not even gonna get into that, but
we'll get to that.
Yeah,
we'll get to that one. The idea here with me is so I've had a couple, but I'm trying to have different ones.
Yeah.
So next relationship, guys, location was a coffee shop. So I was working on my own business in the coffee shop.
Yeah.
I was doing like compilation videos, and I just thought there was a cute girl. She came in, so I just walked over to her. I think I pretended to get napkins from the like the counter.
yeah.
Where you can put your cream and sugar
Yeah.
in.
It's like it's an offsite little thing. Yeah.
So we made eye contact in line. I saw her going over to put the cream and shit in her coffee. So I went over to pretend to get napkins, like I was doing something, and then just started talking to her, hitting her up.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm working over here. Come talk to me. And she's like, okay. She came, sat, and we talked, and we had a good connection. And then after about an hour, she was like, I got to go. And I was like, hey, I'm here today, just working. We exchanged numbers. That was it. So the idea there was girl comes in the store, we make eye contact right away. We one of the things a girl will do is she'll smile at you, or she'll hold eye contact, or she'll come stand near you. She'll sit next to your table. There's subtle ways that
it's you're building a connection without talking, in a sense.
Yes,
right.
Very physical.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So once again, that would have been a cold approach. So didn't know her, just went and talked to her. At the time, my status was low, average. Right. I was dressed kind of like a bum.
Yeah.
I wasn't necessarily looking at my best. I wasn't working out that much. My occupation was I was a musician, and I just dropped out of school. So it wasn't, the best time. Yeah. But that's what's good, too, about meeting in person is you don't know about anybody's background, right? There could be a girl that likes you totally for who you are,
Exactly.
but if on a dating app, she's like, wait, doesn't have a job.
Exactly. I think that's the one thing you just said. You nailed it. In person, they see you for who you are. They don't look at social media, how many followers you have, who you are as a person. They just meet you, and that's their first impression, because nowadays your first impression's on your phone.
Yeah.
And Instagram and all this, and it's like, what's your status? Like, who, you know what I mean? So
bingo. Blue check mark, baby.
And having the organic meet in person, it's almost like a blind date without being blind, but you don't know anything about that person. That's why I believe in meeting people in person at a bar in a genuine setting, even when you're out with friends. Yeah, that's the place where you're going to meet the one, I would say.
Yeah. So this girl, we dated for probably like 8 or 9 months. She was cool. I started bringing her out to meet my friends. We'd go out to like comedy shows, or like we go see movies, and she had a big group of friends too. So I would take like my top buddy, wingman almost.
Yeah, for sure.
And then your top guy to go to her get together. Did that on and on for a couple months, and then I ended up breaking up with her, and I felt bad because I was like leading her on. She wanted me to like meet her parents and have like a serious relationship, but I didn't want to, and I just didn't have any real. Have you ever been in a relationship where like you're with them and everything's cool, but it's like, I wouldn't say you're friends, but like you don't love the person. You don't have that outright connection.
Are you like friends with benefits in a sense?
Well, it's like that, but they want to date you for real.
Yeah. No, I've had that. I've had that before I went on the show. Before I was even going through the process of like casting and stuff. Yeah. And I was always honest. Like I really just want to explore myself. I kind of want to have fun. I've only been through long terms. Yeah. I've felt at the time I missed out on a lot of my single years. Mm-hmm. That's just an excuse at the time, right? Yeah. And I had that where it was like friends with benefits. We cared for each other. She wanted more, but I was always open and honest, saying, I don't want more. Yeah. But then you
feel bad.
You feel bad, but someone's always going to get hurt in the end, and that's the tough thing about it.
Yeah. What was weird about what I felt, compared to previous relationships I'm in, it was like I had all the leverage, and I was 21, I think, so I wasn't familiar with that. But like, basically, when you are dating a girl but you don't love her as much as she loves you, it sounds bad, but you can always just walk away and feel fine. Which, if you're in a relationship and you can just walk away and not feel bad, that's like super powerful and rare. But it's an indication that obviously this person's way more invested in you. So that's when you feel bad. So same thing. That's just all I felt bad leading her on. So I just left.
It's tough though, because you do want I'm a type of guy that I never want to hurt somebody. Mm-hmm. And sometimes if the situation is kind of like a sticky situation where they care too much, or they are in love with you and you're not there yet, where do you go from there? Exactly. And it's tough. Like even in my past relationship, I felt that I should have left way earlier. And I felt like I rushed into my last relationship, but I should have left. I never really had the balls to do it because I didn't want to hurt someone. And then you
get comfortable too.
You get comfortable, you get blinded. So once you do break up with someone, or you get broken up with, once you take a couple steps back, you really see that, that person's true intentions, but you also, you have no more tunnel vision. You see like the brighter picture. You're like, man, like that was not for me. Right. Whatsoever.
Yeah. So that's actually what's very useful about this, because when you get through multiple relationships, you realize which ones are good for you, which ones aren't. And, a lot of people, the first relationship they ever get, they just stay with it. They run with it for years.
Exactly.
And they don't think they can meet somebody else. Because, whatever fairy tale story it was, like, let's say you stay with that girl for like 8 years. I'm never going to meet another girl at the grocery store with my dad.
Yeah.
That's a once in a lifetime.
Exactly. Yeah. Like that situation was very organic, and like it was almost meant to be in that sense. Yeah. That's why that breakup was very hard. But yeah, I think the biggest thing, I don't even know where I was going with this. Taking a step back after a breakup. You're still invested, right? After you guys are apart, you're invested. You're losing a best friend. You're losing a lover. You're losing a family too. Depends how the relationship is with that family.
Or if you're dating a girl and you're in the same friend circle, man.
Exactly, which is tough. And I kind of still have that situation with, the ex I talked about from the grocery store. Her friend group is like, I'm very close with them. Right. Still. At first, she didn't want me to talk to them whatsoever. It was kind of like, no, those are my friends. But as, time went on, she understood that her friends loved me. And I still respect them till this day. And I still check in on them, and they check in on me. And that's what makes a good friend group. So we are kind of in that circle. But
usually takes a couple years for it to, like, when you guys are over each other.
Yeah, exactly. I've only bumped into her once. And I always ask, too, like, if her friend's having a little get-together, I'll always be like, hey, if she's going to be there, like, is it okay? Yeah. Like, we have no beef, but I'm just out of respect because it is her friend group. So.
Well, it's also preventative medicine, guys. Last thing you want is, like, I've had instances where I showed up to a party and my ex was there, and then I brought my current girl. And, your current girls hate exes. They see that girl, and they're like, oh, that.
It's always going to rub you the wrong way. Because it was like I used to have him or her, and now you have him, like, in a sense.
Yeah. But the current girl you're with, she will, like, go to bat for you. She'll be like,
Well, she'll take off her earrings and, like, get her nails done. And she's like, we're going. Like, we're fighting tonight.
Yeah, and even if you're like, no, babe, like, me and her are cool. Yeah. Your current girl's like, no.
I know.
Well, dudes get like that, too. They're like, I'm bigger than that, dude,
Dudes are so different. Dudes have no, they don't really care. They can just cause a ruckus. I feel like women don't really want to step on other people's toes. Yeah. I feel like women are much more respectful than guys coming in, or exes or anything, but I'm an easy guy. I don't have any beef with exes. Yeah. But life goes on. You can never, I always have this term, you can never relight a candle that's burnt. Really, that's like totally burnt out. Okay. Don't spark things up again with an ex, or you guys explored each other. They're meant to cross paths in your life to help you out, to help you in many ways. I have a bunch, like, even all my exes till this day, they were there for me at like certain times in my life where like I really needed them. Yeah. So I have nothing but respect. But I'm not going to rekindle things ever with an ex.
That's what's interesting about this list here. The variety is helpful for viewers too, because I was at a different point in my life in each. Yeah. They're all very different. So this next one, location was college. I was working a part-time job at the school in a bar as a bartender. And basically, like, first day of training, we joked, talked. I think we exchanged numbers. And then I think I sent her a message, something like, we still have unfinished business, something like that. And then we ended up hanging out. And then we started to, like, hook up and connect, and it led to a relationship within about a month or two. And at the time, it was forbidden for coworkers to date each other. Yeah. And you're breaking the cardinal sin, guys. Do not shit where you eat. Yeah. Do not date your coworkers.
I get that. I know. It's
you ever done that?
No,
date a coworker?
No, I'm trying to think. No, definitely not. But
so easy to if you're in a bar, though, because
it's a tough setting though in a bar, right? Like a lot of, even with coworkers, like you said, meeting people in your workplace, you spend more time with them than with your significant other. If you are living with someone, you spend 9 hours out of your day at work, right? And then the rest you go home, shower, eat, and then pass out, and you're back to work the next day. So that's why I think coworkers is it's a sticky situation, because it is.
If it goes wrong,
I mean,
you're fucked.
But then some people look at positives. They're like, well, like, we're in the same workplace, we get each other's work. Yeah. it might work for some people. I
Right.
have no idea, but I wouldn't do it.
Well, this one worked really well at the time. But the idea was that we were coworkers. So from the male perspective, I was able to show a lot of social skills. I was able to talk to a lot of groups. I was good at my job. I mean, all I ever made was rum and cokes, you know, and then I opened beers. So I was a glorified bartender.
Yeah, yeah.
But from a girl's point of view, they'd be like, wow, this guy has his shit together. He's good at talking to others. He's established leadership position within the bar. So these are things girls pay attention to. And it's kind of like the first week of school, first week of a job. As long as you're outgoing and you make a point to shake everybody's hand, talk to everybody, and maybe, hey guys, this weekend let's all get drinks. Like
If you're making a presence.
yes, you can become the leader in the first week because everybody's new. And then as time goes on, that newness wears off. So if all of a sudden somebody becomes socially outgoing and, hey, let's link up, it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Whereas the first week, if you run with it, then you have a lot of momentum.
Exactly.
So because of that, my status was pretty medium to high, right? Because if you're in an environment like a class or a job or school and you show right off the bat a lot of leadership, if you show a lot of social skills, then you stand out from the others and you take advantage of that new ground and it gives you high status. So that worked in my favor and that led to me having more leverage to get a girlfriend. So yeah, my occupation was just student, bartender. I was working in a chicken factory killing chickens, which sucked.
Yeah.
And then I had a small business, and then I started a YouTube channel. And that's actually where things got complicated with the relationship because I was doing like all these street interviews, interviewing drunk girls, and, you know, led to a lot of insecurities on the girls' end.
Yeah, of course. I mean, this isn't a normalized job, you know, throughout some relationships, you know, and like you have to push out content all the time if you're doing this. The amount of time you spend on editing, like it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And, you know, I notice like the difficult side of doing social media, doing podcasts, even, but like I said, the editing and like, if you're doing it all yourself, man, like it's impressive, number one, but like a lot of women, I think even relationships now, like we're all so used to someone just getting a 9-to-5 job. Yeah. Right. And everyone's just used to it. They got their corporate lifestyle, whatever. Mm-hmm. But when you want to kind of expand yourself and do something different for yourself, that makes you happy, sometimes it makes it tough on relationships. Yeah. You know,
there's one interesting take I realized. This was in this relationship. I learned this too. So I was graduating school, and so I graduated, and then I was running my own business. Okay. But the business, it was like property management. So me and my buddy were just managing some student houses, and I was doing the YouTube channel. But I worked for myself, so I control my own hours. I could work from home or a coffee shop. But what happened was, since I didn't have a 9-to-5, it was a disadvantage in one way, that my girlfriend felt like I could just do anything with my time, right? Because I didn't have to be in an office at 9 o'clock, so I could sleep in a bit, or I could work from home. And if you're working from home, it's hard to visually see a difference between working at home and not doing anything. Yeah. So because of that, my girlfriend would think I was always available. I could drive her to work. I could
she relied on you a lot, right?
Yeah, but when you have a 9-to-5, people think, oh, he's got to be there at that time. He's busy. I cannot get a hold of him for 8 hours.
Exactly.
But
it's sort of set in stone. Once you have a 9-to-5, they know you're not coming home until 6 o'clock.
You're unavailable. You're busy, and they give you a lot of like leg room. Yeah. But when you work for yourself, they think they can get a hold of you all the time because, you know, even though you do work for yourself, it doesn't look like that. Exactly. They just go, oh, this guy's at his house all day, or he's in the coffee shop.
So at that point, you probably wanted a 9-to-5 to stop her from bugging you a little bit, eh?
It was tough, because I would have to, you know, I'd have to leave my house to go work. So it was like I was working, but I wasn't. Right?
I know.
So if you want to learn the proper way to talk to women and transform your dating life, be sure to check out the Den Most Social course. Den Most Social is our best-selling video course that teaches you how to get real confidence, real results, and meet your next girlfriend. You can check that out by clicking the link in the description and completely transform your dating life. For those of you that need direct help with your specific dating issue, I also offer one-on-one coaching and consulting. The topics that I specialize in and can help you with include approach anxiety, communication, confidence, getting a girlfriend, maintaining a relationship once you have one. That's a big thing where a lot of guys mess up. They let themselves go once they do get into a relationship, as well as getting over a breakup, building a social circle, and much, much more. I still have about 50% availability for this month, so be sure to click the link in the bio below and save your spot. Book a call now. You know, you probably dated girls while you had like a nice social media experience, I guess. Or did you ever get into a relationship and then throughout the relationship, you started getting a lot more followers and attention from women halfway through?
Yes. So with that one relationship, she was very much into social media and wanted like the couples photos and the couple goals, and that's when all that stuff was so big. And I was kind of forced to jump into the social media world a little bit. But then you did realize like girls wanted you more. Right. And even in high school too, I remember girls would be way more flirtatious with me when I had a girlfriend. And then I remember becoming single and saying, well, like I'm single now. They're like, well, you know, single Brendan isn't as fun as Brendan with a girlfriend, right? So
dude, it's such facts.
You always want what you can't have.
Isn't that crazy?
It's scary. And like I said, if we are single, we do want someone to just share experiences with. And if we are with someone, you know, you're always going to want to have that sense of being single. And not just to be single to see other people. It's really just being alone. Yeah. And just like
being comfortable alone, man.
You know, I know.
If there's some people I know, man, that they can't do anything unless they're with somebody else.
Yeah.
And it's like that forever. But eventually they do become alone. And instead of fixing the thing that, you know, makes them feel like they always have to be with somebody, they hop right into another relationship. Yeah. It's like a never-ending cycle.
Yeah, no, I know an ex that has had 5 boyfriends since me. And I've had like 1 girlfriend. So it's funny. You get the serial daters a little bit. But the funny thing is that I believe like everyone's friend group is so important. And if I go to a bar and I meet someone and we're talking and she likes me because I surround myself with good people. Yeah. My friends. And I have friends that are girls that I go way back 15 years. I've met their boyfriends. I'm like part of their family. Seeing my friends is so important to me. That's made me who I am. And it's like, you got to surround yourself with a good group of people in high school. Yeah. After high school, who you surround yourself with, it kind of defines who you are a little bit. You know, playing hockey my whole life, sports. I've built character. I've built great friendships from good people. So when girlfriends or even guys with their girlfriends, when they want to kind of separate each other from their friend groups, it's like the biggest mistake you can do. Because
you're shooting yourself in the foot, man.
Yeah, because that's one thing. It's like, well, if you like me for who I am, it's because of like the people my friends are. They're great people. So,
but also the fact that I think a lot of guys don't realize this, but when you're going in the early stages when you first meet a girl, right? The things that are attractive to her are your current lifestyle. Like you're busy, you have a lot of cool friends, you go and do activities and stuff, and then you bring them into that. They become a part of that lifestyle, so it's fun for them, but. What happens is, you know, sometimes women do this without even realizing it, but they start to be like, well, this weekend I want you to just hang with me. Yeah. Let's not go out with your friends. And then slowly it goes to, I don't like those guys you hang out with because maybe they're single and they go into bars. Yep. Next thing you know, these guys you were hanging out with, this lifestyle you were living, all of a sudden it's gone. Now you're just with her every weekend. And then when you're with her every weekend, you don't feel like yourself. You start to kind of, you know, she takes more of a lead in the relationship. And then you become unattractive to her. Yeah. And then at that point, it's too late to just go back and you take your foot off the gas once you're in an established relationship.
And then you're changing each other. And it goes in a circle. And but I've seen it firsthand with buddies of mine, super social guys, always wanted to go out, grab a beer, let's catch up. I'm a guy to be like, hey, let's plan something and like, let's grab a beer next week. Don't procrastinate. Let's do it. Yeah. I've had guys and then they get girlfriends, disappear for 2-3 years. They go through a breakup. They're calling, let's go out. I'm like, dude, where you been? Like, where the fuck have you been? Like, I've been here waiting patiently, literally available anytime, just like catch up. Like, we don't even need to grab booze. Let's go for a coffee. Yeah. And they
let me just come to your house, bro.
And then they have an excuse. And then once they step away from that relationship, that's when they're like, oh, you know, I know how things were with, you know, this relationship, and like I just realized a lot, bro, but I definitely want to like see you and hang out. And I'm like, I'm a guy. It's like I'm not scared to sort of remove certain people out of my life if they weren't gonna be there for me or like wanted to just catch up. Yeah. Because you were stuck with a girl that wouldn't let you do that. And I see it all the time. I see how insecure guys get once they're with their girlfriend. They're a totally different person. And like, how is that gonna last? I see relationships that I'm just like, it's not going to work out. What do you see? Like,
and they don't even realize it too.
They're blinded.
Dude, it's funny.
They're blinded.
Like you said, a guy will date a girl for 2 or 3 years. You never hear from him. You never see him. And then he gets out. And he comes in like, yo, let's chill. Yeah. And then he comes in there like smiling, like, fuck, I know I've been gone these 3 years.
And I've had a buddy that sort of said, you know, I fucked up. Like, I definitely want to like catch up on a lot of stuff. And I've realized a lot. But it's like, buddy, you're almost 30. Like, you got to check yourself a little bit, you know? And I've had buddies that You know those type of guys that where you have like a weekend up north and you're playing beer pong with the guys or just by the fire, and you always have that one buddy, or even golfing, and you always have that one buddy that like
I already know where you're going from this. Yeah,
he has to leave to take the phone call, and it's like turn down the music, and it's like he has to jump on the phone call with the girlfriend.
Yeah,
and it's like it goes both ways. Number one, he should set in stone like, hey, I'm going up north with the guys, or I'm doing this with the guys tonight. Yeah, always check in with your significant other. I think that's important. But he or she should know, whoever's on the other end of the phone, they should know, like, out of respect, not to give that person a hard time.
Yeah.
Because like having your separate life outside of relationship is huge.
But the guy needs to establish that boundary.
Yeah.
I feel like every relationship, it's always the guy's fault. I always feel like, it's the guy's responsibility to steer the ship. He's the one, he's the captain. And if he lets things slip and he becomes, like he's always calling his girlfriend, obviously maybe she puts that on him. She wants him to call every night. Yeah. But the fact that it got to the point where that happens, it's his fault. Yeah. Like he let it get to that point.
It's the happy wife, happy life term, and it makes sense for some people, and it's a very important saying, but there's a limit. I mean, you got to be you're a team, and you can't. Yeah. There's so many couples that like think they're on the same team, but they're not.
Well, the wife can't be happy wife if you put her on a pedestal above all your boys.
I know. It's a scary situation with what I've seen with some buddies of mine.
It's mostly guys in their mid-20s,
but we're all still finding ourselves. I'm still trying to find myself.
But it's preseason. This is preseason.
Preseason still. We already got the glow up, but we just need to. Yeah. I think our 30s is like our prime years. Yes. That's when I'll be confident, like with someone. I know I'm gonna, find myself. We're so young. We always have this. Expectations going on for like mid-20s, and now it's like no.
Well, it's because our parents and grandparents.
It's so different, right? Yeah. And even like I talked to some of my friends and like some girls. What they even say is like, back then they thought they were gonna have a house and kids by 25, and some do. Yeah, perfect. I know people who do that, but now like times are changing.
Dude, it's so different now,
right?
And sometimes I wish it was as simple as it was for our grandparents. Yeah, but life is awesome now too.
Life's good. Life's good. I'm not complaining, but it kind of takes some pressure off us too, because sometimes I feel like I'm behind maybe a little bit, but then I say, well, I'm still young, and I still got a lot of shit to work on for myself. Yeah. To be the best version of me. Like there's a lot of stuff I have to deal with internally that I know I'm not ready for this. If I can't get here by this point right now.
Well, men and women peak at different ages as far as there's this concept of market value. And the idea is like, well, why are you comparing men and women as objects you can put a score or a value on? Right. But if you just look at it economically as far as like value and trades and, what one person will pay, how many options this person has. Yeah. There is a metric. There is a score. And men and women have different scores at different times. So there's this awesome chart I found. This basically shows when men and women peak differently in life as far as their options, right? So what does options means? Options and market value means, let's say for a guy, when that man will have the most women he can select between. And for women, it would mean when that woman has the most men she can select between, right? So just sheer volume of options, but also quality of options, right? So for women, basically towards the end of high school, they become, these physically beautiful people. Right. Whereas men, like us in high school, we were skinny. Some of us hit puberty when we were 18 or 19. Yeah. Like we were saying in the last episode, you drive by a high school and you see these kids and you're like, man, these guys look like babies.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, dudes don't really glow up till late 20s, early 30s. We just look like boneheads.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I can't wait for my 30s, man.
Me too, dude. So, but women, because women mature a lot quicker than men, both physically but also mentally. Like they're much sharper. From a young age, women will know like if I give this guy attention, he'll do my homework for me. Yeah. Or these two guys will fight over me. Valentine's Day, everybody's sending the little candy grams. Yeah. But once a girl gets into like her 20s, now you got college, university, you got all these people from the schools, and also you go to these clubs and bars where there's guys that are in their late 20s, early 30s. Mm-hmm. They have money, they have social skills, their body's on point, their style. Yeah. And these guys are just destroying dudes that are 20, and they still don't know what they're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Anyways, the peak age, though, for women in this market value where they have the most options, whereas the highest quality men, as well as the most amount of men that want to be with them, is about 23. But for men, it's 36. There's a 13-year gap.
That's insane.
if you look at, obviously as somebody that's been on The Bachelorette, think about the age of the men on the show versus the age of the women on the show.
Yeah.
The bachelors are always like, late 20s, but at the most, maybe like 41, 42, 43. But like a lot of them are mid 30s. They have businesses, they have their bodies on point, they have social skills. Some of them have been through divorce, but they had a lot of experience in relationships.
Exactly.
But the women on the shows are all like 22 to max.
Yeah,
sometimes they have 30.
Yeah, you'll get the 23 to 25 a lot.
Yeah.
And I'd say 23 to 27, but like you do get the 23-year-olds. And like, I think for our season, I think the youngest guy was 25.
Yeah.
Or even 26. I think.
Yeah, you might have been the youngest guy on the show.
There was a lot of 27-year-olds. I think that was our average.
Yeah.
It was 27 to 29, and then we had one guy, we called him Uncle Mikey because he was the oldest. He's like 30, mid-30s, I think. Yeah. But like he has a kid, he has a great career, he's a great guy, he has experience.
Yeah.
He knows his shit. He has his shit together.
Well, women value experience and resources in guys. But
yeah, absolutely.
Majority of men, we're a lot more simpler, and some would say, I guess, superficial, but we want just a pretty girl that's cool, smart, and complements our life.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas women, they want like a great leader. And this is something that's weird. You grew up in Ontario, so you would know this, but back in the day, I know so many women that were like, I want to be a trophy wife. Like that was like,
I still hear that.
You still hear that? Up north, you hear it. Like in the, probably in like the cottage area.
I would just say, I mean, girls are taking easy routes out nowadays, I would say. Just from like social media, OnlyFans stuff, doing all that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's easier for, I would say, a beautiful woman to sort of monetize that than guys, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, what's your biggest thing that you look for? Not even just in a woman, but like, what's your biggest thing like for a relationship? What stands out to you when you're with someone?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good question. So the difference between a girl I just hook up with and a girl I get into a relationship with.
Or take home.
Yeah, like a wifey material.
Wifey material.
I suppose.
What's your wifey material? What's your number? What's your top like qualities?
So a lot of the most fun girls that I've, been with, a lot of them were fun, but like they wouldn't be wifey material.
Yeah.
Because, they have like a long history of people they've been with,
right,
or they participated in activities that are frowned upon. Like,
yeah.
Drugs, partying,
exactly.
Stuff like that. And they don't necessarily have a plan, like career, right?
Exactly. Or just goals in general.
Well, yeah, I dated one girl and she was like big into the modeling thing.
Yeah.
But her goal was to just get free trips and have photos and likes on Instagram.
Yeah.
And she was gorgeous
Yeah.
and really, really funny, but like, it kind of took over her brain. It made, I feel like there's a major trap, and not just for women, but for young people in general, that like they get hooked on the validation of social media apps.
Yeah.
And that's major turnoff, right?
It is.
And then, but yeah, the difference between a girl you just hook up with versus a girl you want to date is like, okay, like I suppose she's more intelligent. She has a degree or a career plan. She's much more feminine, and she takes on the qualities that a good mother would take on, right?
Yeah.
Like she's good with groups. If you have a party, she like makes sure all the guests are okay.
She caters to people in a sense.
She caters to
she
people.
Has that wife, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, she doesn't use dating apps. Hasn't been with a lot of guys. Like basically, men like women that preserve their value, so to speak, but women like men that create value. Men that like have the experience, have the money, have the resources, and that takes time. And that's why women like guys that are a couple years older than them versus men. Now that we know everything, we don't necessarily want to date women the same age as us.
Yeah.
Because we want the girls that are still like, in their prime physically, which would be like mid-20s.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all a different thing. But yeah, when you look at like even the top 100 beautiful people in the world or all that, and you see guys in their 40s, early 50s, because a lot of guys come into their own and have the glow up later on. And what's cool about guys is, women are less superficial towards us. If you're funny, or if you're really good socially, or if you have a purpose or passion that helps the world, way more women will give you a chance. But guys, it's very like, well, how good do you look, right?
Yeah.
So that's why the beauty industry does this too. It really focuses on women's looks, especially like the most beautiful women in the world are like the 18 to 26, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we all want that. We all want a beautiful, significant other. It's just kind of not just how it is, but I always look for like a great communication skills with like my family, how outgoing they could be, That's my biggest thing.
Sense of humor too, man.
Sense of humor.
Like if a girl gets your humor.
Yeah, but even like with my dad's just, he's so funny. He's a party animal. He's just like, sometimes he has no filter, but if you could just take his jokes and just kind of kick it with us, have a beer up north by the fire, like you're not that high maintenance.
We'll break balls, yeah.
Like have good banter. Banter's like my biggest thing, right?
Banter,
so
dude. Yeah.
I remember my ex-girlfriend, she didn't really have any good social skills with my family, and my family's the easiest family to get along with. Like they don't care about anything. That was sort of like when I started hearing my dad saying, "Oh, she's not that social and stuff." Like for my dad to say that, I'm like, no, like there's no chance. Like
So you probably thought she would get better over time.
For sure. But no, nothing got better. But yeah, now I really look for like someone who could banter with my family, but like with my dad, with my brother, and even with me. Like I like throwing chirps out there. Like if I'm in a relationship, like if I chirp you, I love you to death. And like it's just kind of like hockey room talk in a sense. Like I chirp my buddies because like I like those guys.
Well, you don't want to be dating somebody you have to be on eggshells.
No, exactly. And like I can take chirps, so like chirp me a little bit. Let's laugh about it. But like I like that fun energy in a relationship. I don't always want to be serious.
No.
So good banter, I think the number one.
Yeah, that's a good
for
one.
Me.
Good banter. Yeah, that's so true too. A good test you guys can do to qualify a girlfriend is have them just hang out with your friends or your family.
Yeah.
And then see how they act like when you're not around. Like, do they just go into a cocoon, pull out their phone, go find you?
Yeah, that's my biggest thing.
Yeah, you don't want that.
I definitely want a girl who, if I'm in a group setting with, like she can just go off and talk to people.
Yes.
Without being
She can make
to
friends.
Me. She's not nervous to be without me.
Yes.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah. She can kind of represent on your behalf. You know,
For sure.
She's like a first mate to you being a captain.
She's just kind of, she's a third wheel without being a third wheel, but she can go to people, shake their hand, get to know them.
Yeah.
Come back, see me for a little bit, and then go. Hey, I'm going to go talk to this guy. I'm going to go introduce myself to this person. Just kind of, or like, do you guys want drinks? Like, who, ask
She's
questions.
like an extension of you.
Yeah, in a sense.
Because if you're a social guy,
So that's how I am when I go out. Everyone's different, and like I said, sometimes you need time to build that up with someone.
Right.
But and just I think always just being like honestly straight up. Any relationship, it's going to be tough down the line. Like you're going to have bumps in the road.
Yeah.
And I think when people do get together, people date strangers.
Yeah.
This is what people do. No one ever really dates. Some people might know someone from high school and they were friends with for years, and you end up dating. Great, you're dating your best friend. But you tend to just date a stranger. You can talk to someone you date after 1 to 3 months, and you're trying to impress this person nonstop.
Yeah.
And
qualifying.
Then, right. And then once, they start coming over more, they start seeing your day-to-day lifestyle going into work, and then you kind of have a bad day at work, and they see kind of like you pissed off a little bit. They start asking questions like, well, why aren't you being this way? Why aren't you being this way? Why aren't you being cute? Why aren't you like being lovey today? It's like, well, I had a pretty brutal day at work.
Yeah.
This is kind of the real me, like after a day. I'm just trying to unwind. So they don't see the real you for a little bit.
Yeah, they call it the honeymoon phase.
Well, the honeymoon phase lasts up until, so once they start, honeymoon's like 6 months. I'd say maybe a year.
Yeah.
Up to a year. So once they start seeing like your true routine, living together, coming home, you're like, it's really the little things that matter. If you're coming home after a long day at work, if she or he or she, you have food ready for them after a long day, just a fresh towel, in the bathroom, like, hey, like take a shower.
Yeah.
Here's fresh food. You don't have to even stress about it. Like laundry's done.
Yeah.
It's the little things.
Dude, it's just the idea that like, even if the food isn't good, it's the fact they made it for you. Man.
Yeah. And it's hot and you don't have to do anything. You had a long day.
Yeah.
So a lot of people they don't know the reality of life. Like when they live together too, they think like it's always going to be, fine and dandy, but having those talks saying like things are going to suck sometimes, work stressful for me, do I believe in the honeymoon phase? Like it'll happen, but like I don't think you should live about that.
No.
That's the tough thing.
Well,
how to transition from a honeymoon phase into the real world, that's like sometimes impossible for couples. And you think you guys are like breaking apart. You think you guys don't even love each other anymore.
Little seams come loose, and then you're like, oh,
it's like the world's falling apart. Yeah, because you're not used to it. But if you're sort of straight up right away and say, listen, and things will suck, but like stick by my side.
Best way to do this, take her on a trip. Go on a vacation.
Vacay. Unwind.
7 days, 10 days. I mean, drive up north to Blue Mountain
all
for
inclusive.
a couple.
All inclusive.
Yeah,
and
and then
just
just
free beers.
And then see what happens. See what happens, right? Like, maybe you'll get lost or something. Like you're fucking, you go the wrong direction with the car, and then there'll be like arguments that never would have happened all of a sudden start But pay attention to those, because that's like, whoa, if we can't even do a vacation together, how the fuck are we going to live together?
Well, the one thing I always say if I am in a relationship with somebody is,
Yeah.
if we're driving on a road trip, whether it's 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, if you can just like put music on, and we don't need to talk to each other, just like hold our hands, just we know we're present. That's all that matters to me. Because sometimes in past relationships, it's like, why aren't you talking to me? Like, why is this awkward? Why aren't you having a conversation? I'm like, you know what? I just kind of want to listen to music and jam out with you and just chill.
Or like when you sleep, I don't know about you, man. I sleep on my side sometimes, facing the outside of the bed.
Yeah. Me too.
I remember first time I was dating my girlfriend. Yeah, I don't know. Once we went on vacation or something, I was sleeping like facing the other direction. She's like, "Why were you cold last night?" I was like, "Well, that's how I sleep."
Yeah.
Right. But the idea is like, yeah, you have to be comfortable. Once you learn about your partner and what they're into, like, yeah, like let's say your girlfriend, instead of freaking out, like, Brendan, why didn't you talk to me over that whole 2-hour drive? It's like, oh, Brendan just likes to be quiet and drive.
Yeah.
You know,
I love that.
Yeah.
I think we all do. We all like to just
dude,
put
who
music
doesn't
on
like putting on classic
and
rock
just not
with
talking.
the windows down? Yeah.
Let's just no talking. Let's just like put music on, and you know, you're there by my side. Nothing's gonna change. I still love you.
Exactly.
I just want music.
Exactly. So getting back to this list, relationships, we've given you guys a couple examples of like how you get into a relationship. That's a good example of qualifying a girl for a long-time relationship, because a lot of this show, a lot of the things that we do talk about are very polarizing, and you hear those and you're like, wow, I can't believe that guy would say that. But this is premeditative stuff, right? Like if you can identify things that you are not going to tolerate later down the line, this prevents you from going through the problems later. Because if there are some red flags in a relationship you ignore and then you are dating them, now you're like a year in.
You're too deep.
Bro. But then these things come up and you're like, fuck, if I knew about these in the first place, I wouldn't have, you know.
I know. And it's sad that some people have to really start early with these red flags, but sometimes it just happens naturally and organically that like everything's good.
Well, that's what dates are for.
That's what dates are
for.
for.
You date them. You identify the red flags. Yeah. And then you go, oh, I like this about this person.
Red flag, sleeping with socks. Red flag. Fuck.
Yeah, listen to the country music.
Dude, no, come on.
Anyway, so next relationship here, location. This was an interesting one. Slid into the DMs. So normally I don't meet girls on the internet or Instagram. So this was probably 2-3 years ago. So this girl, she slid into my DMs, which is always nice. I feel like a lot of girls are way more courageous to slide into a guy's DMs than they ever would approach a guy in real life, because girls hate being rejected. Like, there's nothing worse than a girl going up to a guy and getting rejected. Like, I would argue most of the girls watching this video right now have never approached a guy and probably never would, and it makes sense. Like, most guys don't, but more guys do than women do, because rejection's hard, man.
Of course.
But anyways, so she slid in my DMs, and the reason why is because she saw a video I did. It was like, I did a video based on this town, and she liked it. So my status was, hi. She saw something I did that she liked. It was valuable to her. Her and her friends all saw it and thought it was cool. Yeah. So I had a lot of leverage. She hit me up, right?
Right.
Good position to be in. My occupation at the time was small business, YouTuber. And then basically, we dated. And then eventually I ghosted her because, similar idea. I didn't really want to commit to her. And the reason I didn't want to commit to her is because she was fun to hook up with, but there was a lot of red flags there that wouldn't be wifey material. Yeah. And that's all. Nothing crazy. Same thing with women. Like, women, they'll find a guy that they're very attracted to, but, guy's in and out of the pen. He's got a bunch of tattoos. He's kind of an idiot, but he's good looking, rides a motorcycle, but doesn't have a job.
It's just like a fantasy almost for some people. Right?
Yeah.
And
it's
like
true.
No, I've had stuff in the past too. It's just like, the intimacy's good, everything's good, just red flags. Yeah. And like, you kind of don't want to approach it in any other way except for just leaving.
Well, what's interesting about guys is when we see a girl with red flags, we'll still hook up with them. But you can't really convert a girl with red flags into like wifey material. But some women, they'll see a guy with red flags, and guys having red flags usually leads to the guy having, at times a lot of options, like the classic bad boy that's banging a bunch of chicks. So some women, they fantasize about taking that bad boy that does have all those options. Like, let's say a bachelor, all these women want him, he's banging multiple chicks, but they want to be the one that he settles down with. They want to be the one that converts the bad boy into the guy for them.
It's a challenge.
Yeah. It's like they want to convert that red flag into a green flag.
Exactly. It's a challenge, and if they can do that, they're just the queen.
Yes.
They're showtime.
Guys don't want to do that,
Right?
though. No, we want. It's weird in ways, but like women like guys that have been with a lot of girls, and they don't want like not necessarily how many, but like the experience. Like that's why girls date guys older, and then guys like girls that aren't as experienced. Because another thing too with experience is you get more disagreeable, and being disagreeable favors men because entrepreneurship, corporate, standing up for yourself. But a lot of guys, they want women that complement their lives, not complicate it.
Exactly.
And women that disagree and we have to do things my way. Like a lot of guys just don't want to deal with that.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. Yeah. You hit the nail on the coffin right there. So
last relationship, location, house party / birthday party. So this is a good tip for you guys too. When you have a lot of friends, you provide value. Like, you have your hockey buddies, you got the regulars at the bar. When you're putting yourself out there and you have a lot of friends, the reason people hang out with you is because you provide them value. At the end of the day, if you're an idiot or you're useless, maybe your high school buddies will still hang out with you or your family. But for the most part, you're very limited socially. So the idea is if you're a great guy, you're on your purpose, you're doing your shit, you make a lot of friends. And those friends, they want to invite you to stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, Brendan, come out this weekend. We're having a party.
Yeah.
So you get to go to cool places. And when you're having a party, you don't want to necessarily invite people that aren't going to fit in or vibe there because how men are is like, well, is this guy going to provide value or reduce value? So sometimes I'll bring guys out that are very antisocial because I want them to bring a guy in to like get them
break the shell a little bit. Get them to open up a little bit. Mm-hmm. You're trying to help them, right? And sometimes they might not understand that, but I've had buddies that I love. I can be with them on my own. Yeah. In a group setting, though, the way they drink, the way they party, I can't do that. Because it gives me anxiety. I'm kind of like, I would say in a friend group setting, I'm like a dad. I need to clean up. I need to have everything organized. I'm very neat. I need, I don't want anything to get fucked up, basically, in a sense. Yes. But like, I do care about other people, how they get home safe. Text when you're there. Yeah. So there's certain guys that are just complete gong shows, and I can't have that. Right. No. They're only for certain settings, and it's sad that we have to have those certain guys. Like, hey, I have a list for just maybe during the week guys, and then like weekend guys I can hang out with. But
the idea is, but when you provide a lot of value and you have a lot of friends like that, you get invited to go places, and when you go to these parties you go to, there's girls there. Yeah. So the idea is like, Brendan's a cool guy. I'm going to bring him to this party, and my girlfriend, she's going to be there, and her friends that are there are cool. Yeah. So I'm going to bring my top guys to represent because they are extensions of me.
Exactly.
So the idea here with what I'm getting at is one girl I started dating, met her at a party, and it was my buddy. His girlfriend just graduated from some kind of program. So he invited me out, and there's like 30, 40 people in the backyard, outdoor games. And her friends were there too. And then some of her friends also graduated or the same thing. But that is how the mingle happened, right? You got a bunch of guys and girls meeting at an event based on mutual friends. So it was a very organic way to meet. And basically same idea, just go approach people in public, make a joke, banter, observational humor. How do you know this person? How do you know that? And you're already pre-qualified because most people are pretty similar to the friends they hang out with. So that led to a relationship that was really good. And a lot of it was based on, because I had so many friends and because I would bring them to my parties, they would invite me to theirs. And then through them, that's how I meet these people.
Yeah. So, but you all complement each other, right? Exactly. You all do it in some way, shape, or form. Like you said, your friends are extensions of you. And that's why it's important to have those friendships even during a relationship. And that's why you need a separate life outside of your love life. Boom. In a sense.
So to summarize, go over everything. Some of the things we found in common: high school relationships did not last.
No,
did not work.
But you need them though.
You need to go through those initial breakups, experience. But the reason they don't work is because you're not developed yet. You're just a noob.
You have no responsibilities.
Total rookie.
Right. So you think our biggest responsibility in high school was we have a project on Friday due. I didn't even do them. You know what I mean? But that was my biggest worry. Is like school's so stressful. That was our job Monday to Friday.
Or can you get booze this weekend?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Right. So like, stuff. When's the next bush party?
Yeah.
That was our worries, and we actually stressed about them. I remember, I was stressing about that too. So it was just, you have no responsibilities, and there's no real world thing where you guys can take on the world together. You don't have a pet, you don't have kids, you don't pay bills together. No. So you won't see that until
everybody's also just around all the time. You got so much free time. There's always shit going on. So everybody's in a very good mood.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have a bad day.
No such thing.
It's so weird thinking, like looking back, like that. Yeah. no responsibilities, and shit still didn't work out.
So next stage, we get to like the college years.
Yeah.
So this is like early 20. Well, maybe not college, but like you're like 20 or so. You're kind of working part-time. So now you maybe have a car.
Part-time, but in school.
Yeah, a little bit of responsibility. That it's easier because now you're starting to kind of understand life. Like you start to figure out how to become more of an adult, and that's attractive, right? So those relationships, they can work because, you know, now you're not dating each other based on convenience. Hey, you met each other in the same bubble you lived in the social circle. Now it's more so like, hey, like you're out on your own. Now you're hanging out with people besides high school friends, which is very rare for most people.
And new friends too.
Yeah, new friends.
Totally
new friends, right?
You're actually, you know, outside of high school. I don't talk to too many old high school buddies. I do have like a few of my OG day ones.
Yeah,
I'm sure you do as well.
Yeah,
but you sort of move on, and then you kind of meet new people, and you meet so many new people, whether it's out at a bar, whether it's just like on Instagram, and like just how you and I met. You know, and it's like, okay, that's a new friendship build just from that simple message or something.
So you saw the TikTok clip,
yeah.
right?
So I was just kind of browsing, and like you guys were just, you come off as so genuine, but also it's just raw, and it's just like real conversations, that real life problems. And I mean, it gravitates towards a lot of people, and like there's a lot of stuff you guys talk about where I'm like, man, like they're so right about that. So I always like being a part of something where it is genuine, and it needs to be talked about. You guys address certain instances, even if some people agree, some people don't.
That's the thing. You can't be neutral. You either have to be loved or hated, because, you know, when you're neutral, nobody pays attention.
Exactly. So no, you guys just, you know, talked about real life things, and that's how the world should be. Yeah. So that's how we got in touch.
Well, that's an advantage you gain, though, too, because most people aren't willing to do that because, you know, something we talked about before the show, backlash sometimes with, you know, taking certain opinions. But moving on with the dating thing, after the college era, you got, well, actually, the next one was, same thing, college.
University, graduating, you're kind of looking for a full-time job.
Yeah, you're in that weird in-between phase.
And I'm not the type of guy to look for, like, see what someone does. Like, you know what I mean? It's we're all growing. I've had so many different jobs in my life, and it's turned me into the person who I am today. I have a very universal background. I've almost done it all, but that's my life experience. Yeah. And so
that's when you start to get leverage, eh? Like
for sure.
Mid-20s.
I would say mid-20s, and I'd say like late, like 27 to 30, that's when you really start finding your ground. But even mid-20s, you know,
the pieces are there, but you start to put them together towards 30.
Yeah.
Like, dude, we're in preseason right now.
Yeah, I'm not worried. I'm not worried whatsoever.
But what I learned, though, about these relationships is they went from, like, convenience, social circle that I didn't earn, right? Like, I was in school or I lived in this area. But the relationships I got to on the second end, they were more like I provided value to strangers. They didn't invite me or hang out with me just because we known each other 20 years, but because, like, I went out of my way to meet these new people, join new social circles, and because of that, I was invited to an event where there was other people to meet. So I almost got, like, friends helped me get into a relationship, if that makes sense. Yeah. But that was done by me improving myself, because I have a theory that first half of your 20s, you're given abundance naturally. Yeah. Just because you're young, you have all your buddies, high school, college. Second half of your 20s, everybody starts to move back home with their parents. They have to get a real job. They can't hang out as much, get out of shape a little. They become more introverted because of the phones and everything. So the abundance, that energy, that value you provide people, it has to be created. Now you're an adult, and you have to make it yourself. You can't just rely on the same pool anymore.
Yeah, well, and that's one thing I've always said. You know, I'm always a guy to stick around and reach out to old buddies. And, you know, guys who really just kind of disappear, that's on them. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. Life goes on. But all my buddies, I'm not that hard on them because I know we're all just trying to figure shit out. Yeah. And you need to be selfish a little bit to just focus on yourself. Career-wise, just mental health, everything else moving forward. Like, we are so busy and just trying to figure our shit out. Yeah. So we can't really be hard on each other in that sense. And then once it's kind of a circle of life, then once we have all our shit together, then we can kind of catch up and do our thing. But that's 30s. Yeah. I think that's going to be in our 30s.
And what's funny is, too, once you do get your shit together, all of a sudden you're getting attention from all the girls that used to not care. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny how that works.
It's the rotation of life, man.
Dude, I remember when I was like 21, like all the girls I wanted to date, they were all dating guys in their late 20s. And I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. You know?
Well, I see a lot of people having kids now from like high school, and I'm just like, good for you. Like, I mean, if it works out in that sense, like if you can make that happen and you are happy and secure, that's amazing.
I did have one guy on here, buddy of mine from high school. He met the girl middle school.
Yeah.
Then they started dating high school, and they've just been together the whole time. They love each other.
That's amazing.
And like once in a while that works.
Well,
And
my brother and his
so
girlfriend
blessed.
have been together since like grade 10.
Yeah.
And they had a couple bumps in the road. You know, she had to go teach in Australia, and they were kind of going through a rough patch, but they found their way back to each other, and they were, you know, since grade 10, and he's 32.
Those ones are awesome.
Yeah,
but
so-
they're so rare though. That's the thing.
They're rare. So
Yeah,
it's
no.
it's happened to his friend group a lot. Like even his best friend and his wife, you know, high school sweethearts in a sense. And
Yeah.
it's I wish I can say the same. If I had that opportunity, it would be cool
Yeah,
because it's your
it'd be
best
awesome.
friend. It's
Yeah,
your best friend.
exactly. Yeah.
So
But anyways, yeah, one thing we did have in common with all these, though, is the location was a social spot. So, like, you know, a grocery store or a coffee shop, somewhere in public.
high school, a big public setting.
Yeah,
Well,
high school, college.
That one girlfriend that it was my very first one. Like when I was in grade 9.
Yeah.
I was 14 or so. Because I'm November baby, so I'm a
Okay.
late bloomer. So I was 14, and I think she was like putting a note in my locker.
No way.
Yeah, that's how it started. Kind of old school, sort of.
Dude,
organic,
yeah,
I
it's like
get to.
knocking on the door. Fucking,
Yeah, so, you know,
Wow.
got a note in the locker, and you know, we dated for 2 years, but
Yeah.
you know, she was 2 years older. But I was kind of Showtime in high school.
That's
I
awesome.
was the grade 9 dating a girl 2 years older.
That's gangster.
And I went to
Yeah.
3 proms in high school.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's a legend move,
Dude.
I know.
The commonality I found in all of mine was that I approached them in real life.
Yeah.
Like I had to, well, the one girl slid in my DMs, but most of them, I had to jump into a situation where I didn't want to make the move. like
Yeah,
that.
I know. I mean, that's in my lifetime now. It would not even bother me to go like just walk up to someone at a bar and just be like, "Hey, listen, like straight up, like you're good looking, you're cute. Like, are you single?" Like
Yeah.
it's
talk.
it's literally 3 questions or 3 words.
Yeah.
Like, "Hey, how are you?" And like, "Are you single?"
And it's not what you say, it's how you say it. too.
Yeah.
You
And-
could say that like a total idiot and it not work.
And you can just do it with a smile or like a laugh on your face. Like really just make it out like a joke out of it too. Just be like, listen, we're here. Like, are you free? Are you available? If you're seeing someone, no, that's happened to me in the past. Some people are like, yeah, like, you know, I have a boyfriend. I'm like, oh, that's all good. Honestly, like, you know,
Yeah.
have a great night, you know, and I'm here with a group of friends. So if you want to come hang out, like,
Yeah.
no problem. But
But don't be that guy that shows up just trying to get a girl every single time.
don't wear a tuxedo to like a McDonald's interview,
No. Good analogy, bro.
you know?
Anyways, my camera died, guys, but you can still hear me. Wrapping up the episode now. Thank you so much for watching, guys. As always, thanks for coming on, Brendan.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for sharing some of
blast.
your stories. I hope that the guys watching this, listening, are able to like. These are the frameworks of relationships that we've been in, and these are common relationships people get into. These are common timelines they have. You know, high school, college, coworkers, whatever. But the thing you guys will notice is there's consistencies between them, where we've met, how long they last, which ones lasted, which ones didn't. This will help you guys reference your own relationships and relationships you'll probably go through. Like a lot of guys watching, they'll probably get into a relationship and it won't work, just like these ones didn't,
Yeah.
because you know they're in a phase. But that's the idea: how to meet your next girlfriend, how we met ours, and anything
everything-
you want to throw on there?
Yeah, everything works out for a reason, you know. Any guy listening, whether you're in high school, college, university, just trying to find yourself. I mean, the biggest thing is that everything works out the way it should be. You know, life will work out, even if you go through the worst times. You know, where we've both been, heartbreaks, all this. Life is meant to work out for you. So don't be too hard on yourselves.
Yeah, exactly. But don't quit either, because if you
Yep.
curl up in a ball, biggest turnoff for women. They
Yep.
don't want guys that quit.
Just be a warrior.
Be a warrior.
Grind it out.
All right, guys, hit the like button, drop a comment for the algorithm, go over to Apple, leave us a 5-star review, follow Brendan. Going to put his Instagram bio in the description below. Any questions you guys have, be sure to join the Discord. A lot of cool guys and girls in there. You can discuss dating issues as well as just funny memes or jokes or just general life stuff. But yeah, guys, new episode every single Wednesday, 1 p.m. EST. See you guys next week.
See you guys.
Peace.